if you'd like. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Erin Taylor, and I am going to be offering free daily webinars at 12 p.m. Eastern while we are in this coronavirus pandemic. This is a crazy, unprecedented time for all of us, and I thought, it's interesting. The idea for this daily webinar came to me yesterday. I have not been exercising for about 4 days, 5 days, other than taking a walk. And all of my kids did exercise yesterday. Yesterday was our first homeschooling day. And I would say it went pretty well, pretty smoothly. But all of them did exercise. My 12-year-old had gym class on a Zoom call, and the teacher had them do planks and tricep dips off the edge of the couch and bicep curls with no weight and a few other things. And I thought that was so creative. And then my daughter did a HIIT workout up in her bedroom. And then my son went into our basement and did some weightlifting. And I thought, wow, they're inspiring me. If they're exercising, then I need to be doing it. And I know that self-care is so important. So I made sure as I wrapped up the work stuff that I had to do for the day that I put my running shoes on and I got out there and ran with my dog, which I love to do, and he loves to do too. So we took a nice run in the chilly weather. It was chillier than I expected, but we took a nice run, and suddenly as I was running is generally a good thing for me because it's where I get a lot of my ideas. And suddenly the idea for doing this daily webinar came to me, and I thought, I work with parents all the time as a parent coach, and I have an ability to contribute to the world right now in a way where I can help you and support you and listen to you and bring you some comfort or calm or answers or just listen to you. And so that's where the idea came from. And then as soon as I woke up this morning, I sent out the email and posted on Facebook so that you all could join me. So I'm so glad you guys are here. And one of you says, I'm a stay-at-home mom with 2 little ones not in school. Oh, my heart goes out to you. My kids are 17, 14, and 12, so they're old enough to be reasoned with. And even though they might not like the restrictions that are being placed, at least they can reason through them and understand. And I thought about how challenging it must be for little ones. In fact, how old are your little ones? What are their ages? Because I found out last night, my neighbor texted me. We have this thing called Nixle in our town. I don't know if you have it, but it's something you can sign up for where the police and emergency departments can send messages. Like if there's a severe thunderstorm warning, they can let you know. In this case, and I must have gotten disconnected from it somehow, so I have to get myself signed back up. But in this case, they sent a message last night that she screenshotted and shared with me. They're closing our playgrounds as of this morning. And I thought, oh my gosh, I feel for the people who have young children. It's a great time of year. You know, I'm always looking for the blessings in this situation. And I'm thankful that this is happening, at least here in my area, at a time of year when the weather is warming up. So at least we can get outside more. I mean, we'd be getting outside whether it was January, but at least it's more pleasant to be outside now. But I remember when my kids were little, and you say yours are 18 months and 3 years old. We spent every day at the playground when they were little because it's a great place for them to go and swing, or they can practice their climbing skills and all these really important developmental things that they need to practice through play. And the idea of parks being and playgrounds being shut down is really unfortunate. But I understand why. I also saw that a report came out, or a new study came out yesterday that said that it appears that the virus can linger in the air for up to 3 hours and stay alive on surfaces for up to 3 days. And so I wondered if our town made that decision to close our parks in response to that study that came out, because it's not really safe to have our kids climbing all over structures if that virus could be sitting on that plastic from yesterday. So I think it's an unfortunate step that we need to take, but I would say if your kids are young, 18 months and 3 years old, that you might want to reconsider going to a public park, even if your town hasn't banned it. For example, our playground up the street, the big park in the neighborhood where everyone goes, has some kind of big orange thing blocking you from playing on the basketball court, and then the playground structures all have yellow caution tape around them. They're really not letting anyone on that stuff right now. And I heard that even in the dog park, the police came by this morning and asked someone who had their dog at the park to please go home. So as restrictive as things are getting, I think it's a necessary step that we all have to take. Something that I have noticed in my town is that people still I don't think it's a lot of people, but teenagers in particular still tend to be gathering in clusters. And I don't know if their parents aren't taking it seriously. I don't know if the parents are working and they don't know the kids are going out. I'm not sure why clusters of kids are hanging out in close proximity to each other, but it's just not a good idea. Right now, it's just not. We need to think collectively here. And this is one of the things I wanted to talk about today. We need to think collectively about what we need to do. And this virus has come at a time when our country and our world has been so divided. And our political system is toxic, has been toxic. It's just toxic. So much nastiness across the aisle, so much division, not only with our government leaders, but also with people. You know, I think it started with the trolls in the social media leading up to the 2016 election, and the police shootings and all that stuff, where trolls were getting in there and fanning the flames of division and animosity and fighting. And it just kind of kept going. And the level of disagreement that has been going on in government is obscene. And it's on both sides. It's not one side or the other. The level of hostility and lopsidedness that the different media outlets have, it's hard to find neutral news. Welcome to all of you who are joining. It's hard to find neutral news that's just giving you the facts. That's kind of the world we've been living in. And now we're kind of in this weird paradox. So in order to respond appropriately to the virus, we need to keep our distance from each other. So on the surface, it looks like the virus is separating us. However, the only way we get through this forced separation is to come together. So it's kind of a strange thing. We have to come together to support each other. We have to come together to collectively abide by the restrictions and the precautions that we now know need to be taken. like at the playground, like no playgrounds and no social gatherings, and working from home where you can, and keeping your kids home from school and all that stuff. We need to abide by all of that stuff, but we also need to look out for the vulnerable among us. We need to look out for our elderly people. We need to look out for our sick people. Or I should say, I guess people with pre-existing conditions. I read an article about a 20-year-old, I think she's a college student, and it's somewhere in the Midwest. I just don't remember which state, but she was organizing a volunteer corps to do grocery shopping for the elderly in her community. And so she was finding out who needed groceries and who was able to provide those groceries. What a beautiful gift this young woman created to contribute and to support those in her community who really genuinely need support right now. I have been grocery shopping for my mother-in-law, who is 77. She has been coming over. She kind of decided to go into self-quarantine a couple of weeks ago when this started getting bad here in the US. And for good reason, I think. I think it's smart on her part. And so, but she was climbing the walls with being home. And so she's been coming over every day to just take a walk. She's bringing her dog over. She doesn't even come in our house. I bring the dog out, and she and I and whoever else is around, any of my kids or whatever, we just take the dogs for a walk. And so that's how I'm trying to, and then calling her every day and checking on her. So that's how I'm trying to take care of her. And she's in good health, so it's not like I need to do anything for her in terms of her care. But that's how I'm trying to help her. I have elderly neighbors, and I let them know if they need any groceries or any errands run or whatever. Please don't go to the store. Let me know. We'll go out and get them for you. And so I think that this offers us all a unique opportunity, because when we can reach out and care for another person, it makes us have value, a purpose in the world. And as humans, we feel better when we have a purpose. So I'm encouraging people to see what they can do to help those in their community, check in on elderly neighbors or loved ones, see how we can help each other to get through this. So let's talk a moment about what we can do with little ones at home. At 18 months and 3 years old, they really don't have a larger understanding of what's happening in the world. And so I think you're probably in a bit of a unique situation in that you can kind of shelter them from, the big scenario that we're in with this pandemic. It might be strange to them that you're not going to the playground, or you're not going to dance class, or whatever normal activities you would have been doing before. So that might be a little bit strange. But there's always Play-Doh, singing songs. It's fun to go outside. My 14-year-old daughter the other day was saying to me how she used to love when we would go out into the woods and pick up leaves and bring them home and put the leaf under a piece of paper and then color with a crayon and make the leaf imprint on the paper. I think that's a fun thing to do. I was talking with a friend of mine who is a preschool teacher and director, and she suggested to parents to take coins, and this would work for a 3-year-old. Take coins, or you could even take something else, but I think coins are easy to use. Hide it inside of Play-Doh, and then let your kids squeeze and squish through the Play-Doh to try and find the coins. Now, with a kid who might be 4 years old, 5 years old, certainly, when they're starting to learn about money, she said with their 4-year-old program, they hide, let's say, a quarter, a dime, and a nickel inside of the Play-Doh. And then they ask the kids to find the coins and tell them how much money they found in the Play-Doh. So they have to add the dime, the quarter, and the penny. Did I say that? Yeah, dime, quarter, and a penny to figure out how much money they had. So that's a fun activity. When I went and did my most recent grocery shopping run, I bought a box of toothpicks and a bag of mini marshmallows, you know, the little tiny ones, so that my kids could make three-dimensional structures with the marshmallows and the toothpicks. And when I brought them home, my daughter said, "Oh my gosh, that's a great idea, because we're currently working on whatever kind of cell or atom structure in her science class. So she can actually use the toothpicks and the marshmallows to try to recreate what she's learning about in school." So that's a really cool idea as well. Oh, I'm glad you like the coin idea. I knew that when my friend told me about that, that would come in really handy for parents. So when we talk about things like Play-Doh and using your hands to search through and find the coins, this is a really good precursor for handwriting. And I know this because my kids, 2 of my 3 kids, have sensory issues. They were born with sensory processing disorder. And so my daughter was in OT, occupational therapy, from 9 months to 18 months, and then for a few months around age 3, and then again around age 6. And one of the things that they used to do during the age 3 visit and the age 6 visit is they would put little plastic things, beads, or a little, you know, tiny little figure or something like that into silly putty. So if you've ever felt silly putty, it's much tougher and stiffer than Play-Doh even. And everything they did with her, I always asked questions. Why are we doing this? What is this helping? So that I could understand how we were helping her brain. And they said that all that squeezing and squishing and figuring and pulling to get to the things that are inside of the silly putty or Play-Doh is really strengthening up their hands to get them ready for handwriting. And also, you know, the fine muscle coordination it takes to pull apart the stuff to pull out the coin or the little toy that's hidden in there, that fine muscle coordination gets them ready for handwriting. So there are all kinds of really cool things that you can do with your kids at home that are not only fun, but they're still working on those really important developmental skills. You haven't seen silly putty since you were a kid. I'm trying to think of where we bought it when she was, well, this would be 10 years ago. I kind of think we probably bought it at Walmart maybe, but you might be able to find it on Amazon. That's someplace I would look. And I couldn't find a big container of it. I found little eggs, you know, like Easter egg sized eggs. And then when you open up, there's a little batch in there. But then I bought like 5 of those eggs so that we had at least like a little baseball sized chunk of it so we could stretch it out and hide stuff in there. So that's a good idea as well. Anything that gets them working on their developmental skills. So putting pillows on the ground. So if our kids are stuck inside, or maybe not stuck inside, they can go out, we can take walks, we can run, we can practice skipping, we can do these kinds of things. But another thing you can do inside is put pillows on the ground and have them run and jump from pillow to pillow like lily pads, like a frog. One of the things my son used to need when he was going through occupational therapy for his sensory stuff, he is what they call a sensory seeker. So he was a crasher and a basher. He needed a lot of intense physical stimulation. And so I would take, at the suggestion of the occupational therapist, I would take all the pillows and even the ones you sit on, because we had a couch that you could pull them off. I'd put all the pillows and stack them up on the ground in a safe way, and I would let him, at 2 years old, jump off of the couch and onto the pillows. And I was certainly there, right there with him, to make sure he jumped safely, or if he fell off, I caught him. But he had so much fun jumping off of the couch and into the pile of pillows on the ground. And then I would do something where I would say I was making a Brady sandwich because his name is Brady. I would put one seat cushion on the ground, and then he would lay on the seat cushion, and then I would put the next cushion on him, and I would lay on the next cushion. You know, gently, not all of my weight, but I would put a little bit of pressure compression, and so he would be squished between the two pillows, and he absolutely loved it. Now, some kids don't like being squished, but some kids love it. So you just have to see which one your child is. But that's something fun that he even enjoys now at 12 years old. So that's been a part of his life always. Another thing we did is, you know how you can pencil roll? So you just kind of you kind of put your hands like this and you roll. A lot of times you could roll down a hill, pencil roll down a hill. Well, I would I would lay on the ground, and I would have him lay on me when he was 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. I would have him lay on me, like face to face, and I would wrap his arms and legs around. You know, I would wrap myself around him so that his limbs were all safely tucked in. And then I would do a pencil roll. So, like, he would be laying on me, and then we would roll, and I would be on him, not putting my full weight to squish him. And then we would roll again, and he would be on top, and we'd roll again, and I'd be on top. And he absolutely loved it. Pizza by William Steig or Steig. It looks like that might be a book. That sounds like an interesting book. Pizza. So let's check that out. And pizza is actually PETE''S. Pizza. That sounds like a fun book. So lots of reading, lots of physical movement activities, whether you can get them done inside with your kids or outside. These are all some good ideas, but the other thing that I would like to say is how important self-care is for you, mamas, because it looks like I have all mamas here with me today. It's so important to care for yourself. These are unprecedented times that we're living in. There's so much uncertainty. None of us knows how this will turn out, when it will get better, how bad it will get. And we must take care of ourselves. When our buckets are full and we're feeling good, we're eating right, we're sleeping, we're exercising, we're managing our stress, we're going to be so much more available to our kids who need us more than ever. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself during this very challenging time. So I wanted to add, Carrie, I think that's how you say your name. Sorry if I butchered it. Says a pizza is about a boy who needs sensory input and his parents make him into a pizza. That sounds like a fabulous book, and I'm going to see if I can find it and read it, because I might want to be recommending that to other moms of little ones. So thank you for that information. Pizza and self-care, and what can we do to help each other? Those are some of the things that we're talking about today, and those are some of the things that are important to keep in your mind and keep in the forefront. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, taking care of the people, your loved ones, your family, your friends, your elderly, and the vulnerable among you and in your community. And the other thing is, don't think too far ahead. I was talking with a friend this morning who was feeling a little bit stressed, not knowing what the future holds. and we both agreed that it was important to take a step back and focus on today. In my community, it's a sunny day out here. You can kind of see how bright the window is. It's a sunny day. We're on day 2 of homeschooling. Right now, we're thankful to all have our health. We have a dog and a cat. We have some work obligations. We're going to look at how we can fit some exercise in today. We're going to make some dinner. We're going to figure out what kind of fun we can have this evening together. And so, yes, we need to think a little bit about the future to make sure, but it's more about, to me right now, it's more about making sure that our decisions today are considering the possibility of the future. Not that we're focusing and obsessing and worrying about the future because we can't worry about something we don't know. This is forcing us to come into the present moment, which is where we should be striving to live every moment of every day. So yes, you can look at the future. Yes, you can take the precautions you need to take, but then bring yourself back to this moment. It's the only moment we ever have. So there can be a pandemic raging on in the world out there, and we still only have this moment. That pandemic could go away like a magic wand, which it's not going to do. But even if it did, we still only have this moment. It doesn't matter whether times are tough or times are good or they're challenging or they're scary or they're beautiful or they're wonderful. They're actually all of those things. And we still only have this moment. So I am going to be here every day at noon, at least through April, supporting you, sharing ideas with you, answering any questions you have. If you want to just vent about how challenging this is, please come and join me. I will hear you and support you and cheer you on and give you ideas. And we're just going to get through this together. So I hope that you join me here tomorrow at noon. And if you know of anybody who might like to join me, please share the link that you use to sign up. That should be enough for them to register as well. Share this with whoever you think could use it, because I am happy and delighted and honored to support you during this very challenging time. And in the meantime, before tomorrow at noon, if you have any questions or you need some help, just email me at Erin, E-R-I-N, at erin-taylor.com, and I will be happy to help you out. Okay, until tomorrow, stay safe and manage your stress. Thank you.